Happy Thursday and welcome to, Thursday.
You're right. This is Monday.
Wrong show.
I need you to focus tonight.
Happy Monday and welcome to the Jailhouse Informant. You are locked in for the next hour with myself and my co-host and business partner, best friend, Dr. Christy Sumner.
Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We're going to have a really cool show tonight. We're really excited about the guests we're going to have. They've got a lot of exciting things to share with us, and we're really looking forward to that. But it has been a heck of a week at the historic Scott County Jail. So we've had a lot of fun. You want to tell them the biggest news?
So the biggest news, well, big to us because we've been waiting a little while for this, is we have our new shirts in. And we're so excited about this because we've had a lot of folks that have been asking for the long sleeve shirts and for full color shirts. So we were able to deliver, and a huge, huge thank you to Templar Printing, local girl, and her husband, who is also a police officer. Mm-hmm. So we are excited to be able to use local and also be able to support our fellow officers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they delivered. And if you haven't seen it, I'm actually going to, if you want to talk there, Christy, I'm actually going to go and I'm going to pull some of the pictures up if people haven't seen it.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. We've been working a long time on getting these together and getting them ordered and in, because a lot of people, as Miranda said, have really been wanting the long sleeves. So it's really exciting. But you know, aside from the t-shirts, this is going to be a really cool month, the month of March. We've got our Women's History Month that we're celebrating. So let's, Miranda, pull this t-shirt up real quick. Yep. And we'll share that. There you go. So that's that's the front of our shirt. So you can kind of see what that looks like. Again, it is long sleeve. So I'm very excited about that. But yeah, March is Women's History Month. So we're going to be able to really highlight the women of Scott County, the history of a lot of those women, really highlight the different crimes that were committed by women in Scott County. I will say that Scott County really knows how to do crime right. So we do have several crimes that were committed by women in Scott County. We have different historical figures that we'll be highlighting as well. Also, our guided ghost tours this month, we have labeled them Ladies Fright. So this month it is Ladies Fright. So come on out and really book one of those tours and have a great time with us, because this month is all about the ladies.
Yeah, definitely. Because essentially it is Women's History Month. So we're covering anything from the history of some interesting Scott County ladies to we're sharing the victims of some of the crimes, and then also some of the femme fatales that committed some pretty interesting crimes, unlike anything I've seen.
No, like I said, Scott County citizens do crime right.
Yeah.
And Lisa, real quick, yes, you can order the shirts online. So absolutely, that's on our website, scrolling across the bottom there. But speaking of ladies, we've got a great group of ladies that we're going to be speaking with tonight. They recently investigated the historic Scott County Jail. So we'll be talking about their investigation there, as well as some of the other investigations. So it is a group of ladies and Wayne. So please welcome the Ghost Girls and Wayne to the show tonight.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
Hey there.
Hey, so we got Janine, we got Mason, we got Linda and Lori, and we got Wayne. So thank you all for joining us tonight. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about your team and how you got started and kind of what led you into the paranormal field.
Well, I guess I'm going to start off as Janine, and I have some infusions that I do every 8 weeks at Vanderbilt. So I'm one of those people that has a hard vein to get. And so they were trying to stick me, and about the fourth time they didn't get a vein. So they called in Mason, and she's a nurse. And so she came in there and got it stuck. And so we became talking while we were in there. And I said something about going ghost hunting, and she said, well, I do that. And we found out it was the same group, but we just didn't know each other. And so she invited us to come to the Thomas house in about 4 years ago, I think it was. And so she kind of got us all together.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, nothing cements a friendship like giving blood to, and taking blood. So good for you guys.
Well,
So,
as you already heard about me, I'm Mason.
mhm.
That's Wayne. So I probably got started ghost hunting about 5 years ago. I went to the Thomas house with ghost hunt weekends and had a ball. So that's when I really started going and getting into it. And then I found out so many people that my patients, I would talk about it. And so that's a lot of who is in our group.
Mhm.
Well, except for Wayne. He wasn't a patient. He won't let me stick him.
Good job, Wayne. I'm right there with you.
He is our debunker.
Okay.
He is our debunker. He's the one that goes in and if we're worried or we want something checked out, we make him go to sleep in that room.
Okay, there you go.
He can
Good
sleep
job.
anywhere.
Nice. All right, and so Linda and Lori, how'd y'all get involved with this?
Well, Mesa was my nurse at Vanderbilt. I had cancer a couple of years ago, and so I would let her go poke my port so I could get ready for chemo. And I was real terrified of needles. When I'm scared, I talk. And so we talked about everything, including ghosts. And she convinced me and my mom to go with her to the Thomas house one year. It was my first ghost hunt, and I dragged my mom along because she goes with me everywhere. And this wasn't normal. I really liked it and routine, and so I'd go where she told me to go. But it's been great.
And Linda,
Mason's our
didn't you
glue.
come up with our name? I think Linda came up with our name.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I just kind of rambled out one day. I was like, "Where the ghost girl?" Turn around and Wayne. And it just kind of stuck after.
There you go. There you go. Now, before all of y'all really started investigating, had y'all had personal experiences just on your own, or it's just something that y'all kind of fell into and just wanted to do as a group?
I know with me, it was back in high school, and we used to go to the Bell Witch Cave years ago. And so we had some very interesting experiences there. We heard singing in the cave. It was back, this is going to show my age. They said that you couldn't take a picture of the entrance of the cave. Something would happen. Either your picture wouldn't come out or something. So it was those old Kodak instant cameras with the little flash cube on top, if y'all can remember that. And so I took a picture of the outside of the cave, and the flash caught on fire. And so that was kind of interesting. And then we went to the house where the Bells used to live. It's torn down now, and saw an apparition there. Scared the living daylights out of us. And so we went flying out of that cornfield. And of course, we had to go back another time. We went to the cemetery, and I heard some snakes hissing, and there wasn't anything there, and saw white lights floating around. And at the time, I didn't realize that was probably an orb that I saw. So, and then little things around the house. We think maybe our family members, like little matchbox cars with the sirens would go off with no reason, and it was like the fourth time. And I was like, I'm putting that in a sock in the closet. I'm not dealing with that. And I've always been intrigued and thought, there is something I would like to communicate. So that's kind of how I got into it.
And that's a great place to investigate to start out. I mean,
yes,
being from Tennessee myself, it's like so many stories have come out of there. So that's a really cool place for a first time.
So I live there. I live close by, so I don't go there now because I'm too close to her now.
There you go. You kind of lost me at snakes at the cemetery, but that's okay. So what about you, Mason and Wayne? Did y'all have any paranormal experiences before you joined the group, or is it just something you were fascinated in?
Well, when I was a little girl, I used to go stay with my aunt all the time, and their house was a hospital during the Battle of Franklin. There was actually a graveyard off from it. And there was something in the house. You would hear people go up and down the stairs. Lights would cut off and on. My aunt and them actually did a seance one night, and they made like a Ouija board at the time, but they like cut out the letters and used the glass.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they asked who was in the house, and it spelled out Hobble, Hobble. They looked everywhere, and all they could think was that actually it was someone that actually had been injured during the war, and it was like a nickname. So ever since then, as a little girl, I'd always been interested in it, and I believed in it.
Mhm.
So, and then when this opportunity came up, and then I drag him along.
He's a man of very few words.
And I'm sure being a nurse, that adds such a unique connection as well to what you bring to these investigations.
I've had, I did ER for over 20 years, and I had patients tell me things that they saw. And I actually had a lady, this really stood out probably about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. I had a lady that came to the emergency room. She wasn't talking very much, and she actually wound up dying on the table, and we got her back.
Wow.
When we got her back, she sat up and was talking, and she talked about how she had seen her daughter who had died in a fire when she was a little girl. And she told me she was going home that night. I'll never forget telling her, will you do me a favor? Will you wait about going home until I go home? Because you have scared me to death.
Oh.
And she said, okay. I got her up to CCU, and by the next day she was gone. She went home.
Wow.
Wow. That's
a chilling
yeah, I know.
story.
I got goosebumps on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to Miranda's point, I'm sure you have seen a lot of different things and heard a lot of different stories. So we'll kind of circle back around to that in just a second, because I do have some questions. But Linda and Lori, what about y'all? Did y'all have any paranormal experiences, or just something you've been interested in? Did we lose Linda and Lori?
Well, it was something I was always interested in for a while. I didn't have very much myself before becoming an investigator with the girls, but my son kind of started the whole roller coaster for me. In 2009, he was born extremely premature and died 3 times at Vanderbilt NICU. And it was the same year my grandfather had died right before I found out I was pregnant. So way before Danny showed up on the scene. When he got home, it was Halloween weekend, and he was real quiet and good while we watched Ghost Adventures, and cried every time there was a commercial. He wanted to watch Ghost Adventures. As he got older, he started talking a lot about his big poppy, which would have been my grandpa, because he calls my dad Poppy too. Mm-hmm. And he was real fascinated with World War II. He had big poppy personality. He's always talking about my big poppy, my big poppy. He has never met Big Poppy. Wow. Big Poppy died before I even knew I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And he just has like this old soul, and he's not afraid of things that you would think a normal 12-year-old would be afraid of. So it's just like he's kind of had this touch with the other side, and I want to get a piece of that to feel what he's feeling. I've taken him on ghost hunts. I took him to Waverly Hills. That was probably a mistake, because that did scare him. But yeah, that was kind of what got me into it. was my little ghost baby.
Oh, that's an interesting story.
Yeah, that's not one that we commonly hear. When you're talking to people about. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a ride for sure, because like I said, he's never known his big poppy, and he wants to know all about World War II, and he's just very fascinated with that, and he acts a lot like them, and let's just say it's an interesting personality. So to have that kind of almost is bizarre. But
yeah,
soul.
Yeah, sure.
He's a real sweet boy.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, one of the things that we really enjoyed about y'all's team, because we just met y'all a few weeks ago when you investigated there at the historic Scott County Jail, was really the way that you approach the investigations. Both when you left, both Miranda and I were talking about it. Your professionalism, how you came in and really kind of took more of a scientific approach. And I think that kind of it stems from y'all's background and kind of what you do. But we're very much impressed by that. So when you go on these investigations, is that really kind of your mindset to go in and do it with more of a researched mindset about the history of the location, and really go in and more like, I guess, kind of a debunking situation before you really claim something is paranormal?
Wayne is the debunker.
Okay.
Wayne is the one. He's like, jump out and scare me if you can. I go in and I really try to look at things as far as how they go. And that's why one of the reasons that we do use him, because there's been things that we thought that were paranormal. Hence the reason he got the name Damn It Wayne, because a lot of times he'd debunk it. So we were excited and he pulled the rug out from under us. So, but still, he is our debunker.
Okay.
Well, and two, I just want to add, not just for that approach, but what I really liked is you can really see the chemistry and just the fun. I mean, when you ladies come in, you can see the fun and you just have a great positive outlook. I mean, the questions you ask on the tour and really just kind of taking it in, and, because some of the things that we hear when we investigate is, we'll give suggestions of like, maybe you should break up into smaller groups or whatever. And the teams can do whatever they want. But I mean, you guys really wanted to know best approaches and that sort of thing. And so to me, those were the things that just really stood out to me. And I'm not surprised that you had good activity that night. And then also just that you had a good time too. And so that's rare and hard to find in a team.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
We have an adventure. Sometimes our adventures start when we leave the house before we get to the destination to do our paranormal investigation. And we were very, y'all are the best hostess. You knew your history about the jail. You gave the in-depth information about where to go, what to listen to. And I'm so glad, Miranda, that you told us to pay attention to what the words come up on our obelisk, because that lets us know that the ghosts pay attention to who's there. And one of those experiences was Mason and I were upstairs, and Linda in the maximum security section, and the app went off and it said Mason, and that's not a common word. So it was like, okay, so here we go. That happened on another investigation we had. And so then we went over to the other side. It kind of got quiet. So we went to the other side of the maximum security, and the words came up and said Brandon, and then it said neck, and then it said wings. So we kind of thought about it. And that night, Mason had a shirt on with her grandson's name and said Brandon across it. Around her neck, she had some angel wings as a charm. So I was like, they're checking you out tonight.
That's right.
So that right there tells you that there are people there. They just aren't in a body, and you have to respect that. A lot of people don't respect that. So that's one thing that we do. We treat them like they're still here, and, we don't provoke or anything like that.
Yeah. And normally I'm not out there when people are doing investigations, but I know I was out there at one point. And I think one that really kind of struck me was when you were downstairs with Mason, and we're talking to the folks there in the drunk tanks. And all of a sudden, we were talking about how they like to hear singing as well and music. And Mason broke out into song. And as soon as she broke out into some Dolly Parton, those flashlights, I couldn't believe just the flashlight, just like that, in response to her singing. It was very cool.
That really was, we got a lot of the activity down in the drunk tank and the flashlights and the going back and forth. from each flashlight. One thing that I do, and I actually compliment Janine about this, because when we go places and we ask, if you want us to leave, cut the flashlight on or whatever, and we have had it automatically cut on. And when it does, okay, we're gone. We're not going to provoke, or, we're really good about doing a prayer when we leave that you cannot follow us home. Absolutely. Janine's good about having sage. Yeah, he gets sage too. He gets like, when we're going to oregano him. I said, no, just sage. That's it. But it's really funny. Janine seems to always get orbs. And I thought it was really funny. We didn't get any orbs in the jail. You had told us, though, very rarely.
Well, Miranda cleans so well. There's no dust.
This one is unbelievable.
and that's why we do that. A lot of people comment on that, and it's like, I mean, yes, I'm obsessive about cleaning, but I also feel like it's like, well, it kind of cuts down on some of those false positives, because if you're in a place that typically doesn't have any type of dust floating around, when you get something, it makes it something that you really need to look into a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I got a quick question. So Linda and Lori, not just at the jail, but when you guys do your investigations, do you guys get like interesting results because of the mother-daughter dynamic? Have you ever found that?
Yeah, we do, especially when there's a child ghost. We play on the fact that we're both moms, that's Anna. And so we have action from kid ghosts because we go in there, we're a mom and an Anna, and we're close, and we've got that family bond. It just makes people comfortable. With the jail, we played off the fact that we've got some family history with jails.
That's right.
And you had some really cool experiences.
Yeah, we got some really cool stuff on our little Ovilus in the drunk tank, especially talking about how they did Sunday school in that same room. We got somebody saying that they were afraid of the dark, the abyss. I asked what color the room was, and it was pink. And I said, well, wasn't there a woman in here did not like the pink color? And it come back like the pink color. But yeah, we play on our experiences because they are people, and so we approach them as people with the past, and we're like, hey, I've had to pick up some folks from the drunk tank. Did anybody come pick y'all up, or y'all waiting on family to come talk to you? Because I've done from the drunk tank a couple times, and we got a lot of response back. Okay, like this person talked to because she knows. So we just play on those experiences that we have.
Mm-hmm. And I really think that in and of itself is a good experience, right? Or a good trigger item,
yeah.
Right? Because I know that my twin sister and I, we investigate obviously as soul sisters. So, that's why I was curious about that familial bond, if it helps you during investigation. And I love the fact that it does.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So we've got some evidence that you guys provided for us, some photos and some videos. And so we're going to pull that up. If you'll bear with me just a second. If you guys, what we'll do is we'll pull it up on the screen. If you want to set it up, then we will showcase that evidence. So let me get that pulled up here. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to make it full screen. Well, no, actually I won't, since we're having some mic issues here. So let's just start with this location here.
That's one Mason had, so we're going to let her talk about this one.
This is actually the Hill House in Mineral Wells, Texas. Across the street is the Baker Hotel, which is a huge hotel. And this was a brothel that they had tunnels underground where they would sneak the women in. and men could
Oh.
come over there and they could drink and all during the Prohibition. A lot of murders have actually taken place around the property and all. In the back room, there's actually a room where the women, if they got pregnant, there was a doctor that would do abortions.
Oh, wow.
But they've done a lot of, nobody would live in the house. So the people that actually bought it actually have it set up, and they've actually even gotten like haunted dolls and things and put it in there. And this is nothing but for ghost hunting.
Okay.
There's been a lot of shows and stuff down there. And this is a really great place with a lot of history. I recommend anybody go there and even look at the Baker Hotel and even go around just Mineral Wells, because that's where you get crazy water. And you can read more about it, it's a really cool history. A lot of people died in the town because of the wells. They thought that it had all this healing powers. Well, they built several of these hotels. People came there, thought they were going to get well, and they actually died there because it didn't have healing powers.
Right.
Wow. Very interesting.
That's a great place. I'd love to get out there. We were actually supposed to go to Mineral Wells, but the snowstorm kind of took us down another path.
And I hope I'm clicking on. Was this one also from there?
No, that one was from the Clement Hotel. It's a railroad hotel in Dixon, Tennessee. And it's a museum. And that was just one of the orbs that we caught. They used to, that was a train station when people were coming in and out of town. And so they had a lot of shady things. And there were some people that were murdered there. And so this is just one of the rooms that was there.
Okay. Let's see here.
So is the Hill House the one where we captured the interesting thing that we really want to talk about?
No, that is the Thomas house.
The Thomas house. My bad.
Yeah. So, and I apologize if these are out of order.
That one is also the Clement Hotel. We caught that red orb, and that's Karen. She's part of our team, and I think she's joining us from the sidelines tonight.
Hey, Karen.
Hey, Karen. Okay, so when you all were capturing some of these orbs, were they was this from a static cam, or was this from a video cam, or just like a photography?
I think that one was from an iPhone, actually.
Okay.
When we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if you were seeing it like in any videos and stuff, and if they were still shots. Let's see here.
That's Wayne. That's at the Thomas house. That's a church across the street. And they were I think the crew was trying to put a foundation under it, and they didn't know what they were doing. So it just collapsed. And we've had a lot of experience there, but they've kind of closed it down now because it's too dangerous for anybody to get in there. So that was kind of like the before, and then that's the one. I actually took that picture, and there were 3 of them, and that was the only one that had the white coming down. And
wow,
that's fascinating. That's huge,
right?
Yes. And I did it with the live iPhone, so that you can, when you hold it, you can see it come down. Yeah, it was kind of neat.
Wow, that is cool.
Okay, so this is the Thomas house.
Yes.
All right. Do y'all want to set this one up?
Okay, so this is actually room 39 at the Thomas house.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see this picture, this is what the room looks like. You see the window, you see the little lamp on the side, the red chair. And then we got the next picture you're going to pull up.
This is seriously the craziest picture I've ever seen.
I'm going to zoom in.
It's just, there is so much going on with this picture. So tell us kind of what you think is going on here.
Well, the weird thing is you can't see the red chair, and that thing in the middle is where the red chair is. And we tried to recreate this, I know, for at least an hour or so, didn't we? We put people in the chair, took people out. And if you notice, right up under what looks like that little troll doll, that's actually me holding my phone because my phone would not work.
Okay. I see the phone there.
You see the phone?
Yes.
We sent this picture.
It's insane.
One of the girls that was with us sent it to her daughter, who kind of gets impressions.
Mhm.
And she said, by looking at it, she actually thought that where the lamp is that's on the wall, she said she thought that looked like a portal where things come in and out. Chip Coffee has been to the Thomas house quite a few times and says that there are several portals in the house. We're going back on the 19th, and actually Wayne and I are staying in this room.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, nice. And I just
There
want to
you
go back
Yeah.
on that and actually show the before,
Yeah.
just so people can get a reference. I don't know if you can see my pointer here, that being the light.
So there's the original.
Yeah.
And then this is the very next one. So you see the lamp on the right-hand side, obviously in front of the window. And then this is the second one.
And that's not a reflective wall
Mm-mm.
either, is it? I mean, it's like
No.
a matte
Yeah.
wall, right?
There's
Yeah, it
nothing in
is.
this room, in my
Yeah.
mind, there's nothing in this room that's reflective.
No.
I mean, there's nothing off the chair that's reflective. How far apart were these two pictures taken, Mason?
I'm not sure about that particular picture, but when this one was taken right here,
Mhm.
there were multiple pictures that were taken.
Mhm.
Sure.
And you saw the red chair. Now, I think the picture that Janine sent that you just looked at
Mhm.
is when there's light in the room.
Right.
Mhm.
The other pictures that we took, it was dark in the room, but you still see the chair, you see the window, you see the lamp. I mean, and you know how it's just a darker picture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I said, we couldn't recreate this with anything. We put people sitting in the chair. We had a phone held up if somebody was sitting in it, but there were multiple people taking pictures, and
Mhm.
we couldn't get anything anywhere near this.
I've never seen anything like it. And the interesting thing, I mean, there's so much going on here. If we can go back one more time to the before picture. Now, see, it's like there's no door there, but you see the window. It has slats, obviously, for the blinds there, right? But if you go to the next one, it almost looks like the window has become a door.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing, right? So if you zoom in, it looks like a door rather than kind of, I mean, obviously you still see the slats,
Yeah.
but this almost has become
It's
looking like a
huge.
door. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like in the flash, I mean, you can see, it looks like you see a little hand there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It looks like you see a face. Honestly, I've never seen anything like this.
And there was the person that took the picture. This was their very first
Yeah, that
time
looks like a
to
hand.
ever do this.
Yes, very first ghost hunt. It was
And
one
her
of my other
husband-
patients.
And her husband was such a skeptic. And then between this picture and then the other flashlight activity we had in the cafeteria, he said, well, you know, I'm not a skeptic. And when are y'all going to go again? Because I'm ready.
Well, and then another thing, if you zoom into her phone, right, it doesn't look like that.
No.
Right. It almost looks like,
It looks like crosses.
right. All
or
right.
something.
And it's not seeing anything here, but I mean, is the picture zoomed in for y'all? It should be, right?
Yes. And
Okay.
it also kind of looks like a face in the belly of that thing.
Right.
Mhm.
And so to me, I see a little hand. I almost see like the silhouette of a skull on top, and maybe maybe on left field, but almost like a crown. When you showed this to us, it was absolutely fascinating because I've never seen anything like this.
Well, and see, to me, this over here by the light almost looks like a mirror or a hole
Mhm.
sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Just very weird. So did you show this to the people that run the house?
Actually, we showed it to the people that own the house. Well, I didn't see Cherry, but I saw David, which is his brother that lives there, and I showed it to David. I also sent it to Chad Morin that does Ghost Hunt weekends.
Yeah.
I sent it to him and said, hey, we got this in room 39. Any suggestions? And all I got was question marks.
Right. Yeah.
Well, first of all, great for hindsight or foresight to go and take a picture of the room with the lights on, because I know for myself with Ghost Biker, I get pictures so many times where people wanting me to look at them and analyze them. And half the time, my first question is, what does this look like in the daylight? Because, I need to know reference points and that sort of thing. So that's great. And that brings me to the comment that Carl posted here. It says that almost looks like you're looking up at a ceiling fan, but you can see the reference points from the prior photo, lamp, window, etc. So great point from Carl, and great point on you guys for going and actually taking a picture of it in the light so that there is a reference point for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so great job. So anything else come out of that location? I mean, you really can't beat that. I mean, unless you see somebody come out and actually say, hi and boo.
Let's see. So that's a video. We'll stop that right quick. I was looking to see if there was any more images.
There is this particular room.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that, I guess the very first hunt where a bunch of us went, one of the girls that went, she has always been kind of sensitive. She wouldn't go in that room. Mm-hmm. We got several big orbs. In fact, I think, Janine, you got those pictures of those big orbs in that room the first time. And a couple of them wouldn't even go in that room because they were like, they just got the heebie-jeebies. Mm-hmm. And then this was a year or 2 years later that we got this picture in that same room.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to pull up this picture. And like I said, we'll see if I can't remember if you said it's from the same place. The scratches here.
Texas, wasn't it?
So that was in Texas, and that's me.
Okay.
That was at the Hill House, and we were sitting in what they call Toby's room. And I had actually, I think, told Janine, I said, something feels really cold over my right shoulder. Can you take some pictures? And while they were taking pictures, I said, like an itch or something. And the guy that was doing the tour said, check and see if you've been scratched. Well, when I raised my shirt up, I had 3 scratches across my back, and that's what it was. And people had been, I think Janine, they said they had like 300 and some people that have been scratched.
Yeah. And they even have in the kitchen, they've got a board, spirits versus people, to see how many times the spirits win and chase them out before and don't make it all night. But we evened the score because it was spirits were ahead of the humans. And so we stayed all night. So we were proud of that.
There you go. Ghost Girls and Wayne.
So is that something that's fairly common there are scratches, especially to females?
And my grandson at the Thomas house, he did get, I didn't send you a picture of that, but I took him with us I took all my grandkids on a ghost hunt. I said, I'm the coolest grandma. I take y'all to ghost hunt. So
absolutely.
But one of them, there was a boy that had gotten scratched. And so my grandson, I think he wanted to see, okay, well, let's see if it happened to me. So he went to the same place, and sure enough, he got scratched too. So the Thomas house has been known for scratches too.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
Now, have y'all ever been to a location where you felt, okay, this is a little bit too intense, we need to go ahead and pack it up and leave? Or, and okay, Mason, you're shaking your head. What were those locations?
I actually wasn't with the Ghost Girls on this. I was with Ghost Hunt Weekends, and I was at the old hospital in South Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Old South Pitt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's when you came home.
That was when I came home in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Wow.
That was just me with the Ghost Hunt Weekends and a friend of mine that did the tours and stuff. Mm-hmm. And at like 4:00 in the morning, I said, yeah, well, I'm not, no, not happening.
Wow.
I'll just drive 2 hours and go home. It was fun.
That's one place. That's definitely one place that I want to get to. Haven't had the opportunity to investigate that yet.
A lot of stuff going on there. It feels like there's a lot of dark stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah. All right, so we're queuing up a video here. So if y'all want to set this up.
Yeah, that one's at the Clement Hotel, and I had just put a flashlight there to let it run to see if we had a lot of new folks that had gone with me on this one that have never been on anything. So they were kind of fascinated with the flashlight activity. So that one, the piano, the person used to come and play the piano in there all the time. So I thought, well, that may be a good place to put it. So
there you go. All right, we'll let this play real quick.
Put the volume there. And
thank you. You can turn the light out for us so we can ask some more questions. Do you watch over the building during the day? Do you mainly just come out at night? Did you come here because you worked on the railroad? Thank you. You can turn the light out for us.
Very cool.
All right. Yeah, very cool.
So, are the flashlights something that you guys normally employ when you go on an investigation?
We usually get pretty good activity with those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You all were getting very consistent with what I saw there at the jail. You all were getting consistent activity with what some of the new activity that we've started getting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool because they were being very responsive with the flashlights.
Yeah, we put one of them in the working bathroom, so it kind of makes you eerie. You know, I got to go to the bathroom. Y'all stand outside the door here.
That's what we tell people every time whenever they're on the day tours and when they go in there to use the bathroom, we're like, it's the most haunted room in the house there.
Yeah.
So.
And then we did hear that to the right of that, wasn't that like a visiting area, that little area?
Yes.
Because we heard, I think it was Mason, I think you were in there. We heard some shuffling and then we heard a moan that came over there. So yeah, we were excited about all the activity we got at the jail. Now, and we didn't feel scared. That was one of the things. I know I went up to the second floor by myself and put some equipment in the kitchen area. And, but I didn't feel threatened or anything like that. So,
Yeah. And that's what we tell people, you know, when they come to the jail to investigate the spirits for us just really want to talk and let us know their story, let the investigators know their story. I don't think any team has come in and felt anything malicious or threatening or anything like that. So to have you validate that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, startled. Yes. We've had quite a few that have been startled, but as far as anything malignant or just, you know, or malevolent, nobody has said anything.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else.
Okay. We got another one here. I'm going to stop that. I don't know why they start playing automatically there.
All right. What do we got going on here?
that one I think is at Rosemont, Mason, Linda. Is that it? I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll go ahead and play it, and then you can tell us what it is,
Okay.
what's going on after.
See how that works?
Turn it and see if they put the green on the other side and see what happens. Thank you. So you didn't want that green moved.
I guess so.
All right, we don't. Everybody's on mute. Anybody want to know where that one is?
I don't remember where that was. It kind of looks like Rosemont.
I think it is.
It's not the house that we went and investigated. That was your friend's, is it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I had a friend that had us come investigate a house, and it was just kind of weird. I don't know. There was a man that had died in the house, and they didn't find him for like a week or something. And so then they also had a room in the house that where they would have the funeral, and the person that bought it was renovating it. So they were just concerned about, we did get a little bit of activity there, but it was just a weird, the man that owned the house, he just acted really strange. And the reason we went was my friend said that her husband, that her friend's husband had been acting kind of weird ever since he'd been working over there. So we were there, and he told us he was going to leave. And then all of a sudden he just appeared out of nowhere when we were, talking. And so it was just a strange thing. So.
Very cool.
Huh, very interesting. Residentials are a total beast
Yes.
in and different
Yeah,
beast in and
very,
of
very
themselves.
different.
And
Yep.
yeah, very interesting. Okay.
This is at the Hill House.
It's a lot of dolls.
That is a lot of dolls. All right.
Is somebody sleeping on the bed there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that Wayne?
Close enough. It's his sister. She's the one sleeping on the bed. They sleep anywhere. Never seen anything like it.
Goodness.
It's Crystal.
Wow, that's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one room, and I didn't send the picture. I probably should have, but they have all these dolls and toys hanging from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
it was just strange. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they feel like the dolls triggered the activity or maybe brought in something different?
Well, they did have the carousel that was in there.
Oh.
And they had told people not to take anything from that room,
Mm-hmm.
that people had taken stuff from it and bad things would happen and they would actually try to bring it back.
Wow.
To
Wow.
get rid of it. And they said, whatever you do, don't. So, but they had actually brought things that supposedly had haunted history in there
Okay.
because they want the house to be haunted. Like they don't want you to sage or anything like that
Mhm.
because
Of course.
this is strictly for investigations.
Mm-hmm.
And the host, they stay in a trailer out or a camper in the back. The woman won't even go in there at night. She'll just come in there during the day. But they'll send you. They have like the whole kitchen is set up like 13 cameras, and you can sit in the kitchen and watch everything going on. And so then they will tell you, they get your number and they'll start sending you texts of things they see on the cameras and letting you know where things are going on and stuff like that. So, but they do get holy water and they will put a cross on your forehead and also your vehicle before you leave.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
something
wow.
that they do because of some issues that had happened in the past.
Wow. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Boy, they definitely want to cover their bases.
Yeah. So do people leave, like, do they bring stuff and leave it in there as opposed to taking it? I know, like, for instance, the Bel Air house, there's a room that a child haunts. And so we've taken, I like to take a gift when I go to a place. And so I left a doll there. Are some of these items ones people have left from there, or are they ones that they've strictly brought in to essentially control the environment?
I think these are ones that they just brought in
Okay.
to control the environment. And they didn't say anything about people bringing stuff.
Mhm.
I know they do that to the Thomas house. A lot of times we'll take toys and
Yeah.
stuff for Sarah's room. But they didn't say, not that people haven't, but as far as I know that they don't, that they brought all of that stuff in. Cause that, like I said, they've gone all over and brought places or brought
Sure.
things from all over and put into the house that supposedly have connections to them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's fascinating that they'll give you the footage. That's actually a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. And Vicki Norris says she missed, where is this place?
That's in Mineral Wells, Texas.
Okay.
The Hill House.
Yes. And I think we've got,
One more.
okay. Is this one, I guess this one is also at the Hill House?
Yes. And that's me standing outside the door and there's nobody else in the room.
Okay.
And I'm assuming an upper level.
Yes.
Okay.
Goodness. Wow.
Huh. Wow.
And when we were there earlier, Mason and I were sitting in there and they have the motion activated cameras. And so it was constantly going off and buzzing. And we thought something was wrong with the camera. And then later on, we went back and it was quiet. So when we were in there, there was a lot of things happening.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then looks like we got one more picture here, or one more video.
Where's this one?
That's at Rosemont in Gallatin.
Okay.
In the nursery, and there's a little child that died, and they have a picture of him hanging on the wall with the broken toy. They said that whenever you see pictures of children that have broken toys, that means that they're deceased.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting. Okay.
Wow. All right, here we go. Oh, wow.
Can you move your favorite toy and touch it so we can see it?
Was this when y'all were in there, Janine?
Yes. This is when y'all had left, and it was just me and Karen went back to go get my video camera upstairs.
Wow.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Nobody was in there at the time.
Lots of different chairs.
Wow.
No, we stood in there, and that was one that I was taking while I came to pick up the camera, and we just started asking a few questions and started getting some activity.
Okay.
Very cool. What's the flashing on the bedpost in the back? Is that?
That is a gas fireplace that they had. It was really cold. And what was real interesting is they had the house closed for like 3 months during the winter time. And we were the first ones to come in there in about 3 months. So I think the spirits they were used to people coming, and there had not been anybody there. And then we came to come investigate, and it was it was interesting.
I was going to say, I thought that looked like a candle or fire or something flashing.
Yeah.
And Wayne came in handy because when they couldn't get the gas fireplaces to go, Wayne was there for the rescue. He got our fireplaces working.
There you go. There you go.
A man of many talents.
A Wayne is always good to have around.
Yeah, everybody should have a Wayne. Well, ladies and Wayne, we have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You guys, again, just such a fun group. We are so pleased that you came to the jail, and you're welcome anytime. I think we had one question that we missed. Janine, what is that hanging over your head?
Oh, okay. It's a spinner.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Somebody had asked that earlier.
Yeah, in the very start, I was actually going to go back to that before we got off, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, is that a trumpet or some kind of like horn?
I thought it was too. I thought I was like, oh, a trumpet.
But that's really cool looking when it spins.
Very cool. All right, so real quick, where can people do y'all share your adventures? Where can people follow you guys, and what's your next big adventure?
We have a Facebook group called the Ghost Girls in Wayne, and our next adventure is at the Thomas House on the 19th. It's Mason and I. It's our birthday. We have the same birthday, so we go and celebrate ghost hunting.
There you go. Nice. It's a great way to celebrate a birthday. And Linda and Lori need to take that little dog at some point. See if the puppy gets any activity.
Yeah. I think she's frozen on us there.
Yep.
Thank y'all so much for having us on.
Absolutely. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
We had such a good time, and I would love to go and hunt with y'all sometime.
Absolutely. You're more than welcome anytime, and you're more than welcome at the jail anytime. So again, this has been a great conversation. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. And we've got our got our
Thank
next
you, guys.
segment here. So we're going to pull you guys out of the screen here. And if you have a few minutes when we wrap things up, we'll check back in with you. If you've got to go, we totally understand too. But we're going to get to our next segment.
Our last little segment. We'll be right back with y'all. All right, they're so much fun.
I know.
I'm telling you, I really enjoy them.
As soon as they walk in, you know, it was just a lot of fun. I mean, I can't stress enough how much great energy and positive energy those ladies had in the jail. And I think that our resident spirits felt it too, because it appeared from being there, it appeared to be a very active night.
Mm-hmm. And then they had Wayne bring all the equipment in. So, you know, that was good. Anyway, but we're really appreciative of them joining us tonight and taking the time to do that. And thank you everybody for the comments for the Ghost Girls and Wayne. We're going to get to our next segment, which is Today in History, or This Day in History. So our newspaper today that we pulled up and that Miranda will share, this is from November 15th, 1984. This is the Scott County News. And the headlines today is the coal industry future to be discussed. Kind of like everything's coming full circle, because it's kind of like what we need right now. But in efforts to revitalize the depressed local coal industry will be discussed during the meeting involving state and local officials on Tuesday at Scott County High. The executive director commented that if we're ever to change conditions to allow our local miners to return to work, we must stay involved in the decision-making process. So basically, the local industrial development board had a meeting to see what they could do to get coal back to work there for Scott County. So very interesting headline.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Scott County, his history, the coal industry was huge in the area, and that was actually one of the industries that essentially the coal and the timber industry is essentially what brought the jail in, and so that's really what helped in the establishment of Scott County. So it's always been an important industry there.
Mm-hmm. We also had 2 injured on Jeffers Road accident, and kind of coincidentally, one of the guys injured was a Jeffers on Jeffers Road. So that was kind of interesting. Northtown Cinema plans to open a second theater. The picture on the left, these are 2 of our local officers are shown with a truck and a number of other items that were recently recovered in Kentucky after being stolen on October 26th from the residence of John Charles Lay on Coopertown Road. From left to right are Sheriff Marion Carson. He was one of our more popular sheriffs there in Scott County, as well as Deputy Don Laxton and County Detective Andrew Llewellyn. So we'll probably be mentioning them again soon.
Yeah, and if you come to the jail, we've got a lot of different stories where Sheriff Marion Carson was the leading sheriff there in a lot of our stories from that time. So, and then the Ladies Division of the Chamber of Commerce plans decoration event for local businesses. The Chamber's always been something that's been extremely involved within the community, and it just goes all the way back there to 1984. The Ladies Division of the Chamber of Commerce has announced plans to sponsor a contest for businesses in Scott County who may have their windows or exteriors of their buildings and premises judged. So that's pretty cool, because, you know, now at this point, you know, the Main Street area is seeing some revitalization. So it's really cool to see whenever they're doing that sort of thing. So it's cool to see they did that at that time.
Mm-hmm. We also have deer hunting season. It's to begin on Saturday, so a couple days after this paper was printed. So if you're into big game rifle season, this was the time to start. And what I thought was also interesting, that if you scroll down here just a minute, the newspaper says if you want to have your picture taken with your deer, you can bring it on over to the Scott County News office from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, and it will benefit local hunters if you'd like to have the photos of your deer taken there at the news office. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and that's something that you would always see at deer season during that time in the papers. I mean, the paper, they would have full pages of photos of people with their deer. So pretty cool. And then also the former county agent H.H. Huffins honored during open house at a new extension office. Mm-hmm. And so Mr. Huffins, who served as Scott County's extension agent from 1953 until his retirement in 1975, he was a special guest at an open house for the new extension office, which is on Main Street in Oneida. And so he was given this cool award. I remember some of these folks being involved with 4-H and such when I was a kid.
Yep. Very
Okay,
cool.
let me switch pages here.
All right, what do we got next?
Let's see, just some zoomed in pictures here.
Cool.
I thought this was interesting.
Look at that.
So, they had the schedule posted for the First National Bank, posted their schedule for the week of November 15th through the 21st, and just kind of talking about some of the cool things that was going on at that time. It has the ladies division of the Chamber of Commerce, as well as the local town meetings and the school board meetings, and then also some different things. An organization meeting for area craftspeople was being held.
Check out November 20th. A free microwave demonstration will be held at Plateau Electric.
Okay, I've got an article on that. When I thought that was pretty wild, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah, a microwave demonstration, because that was the cool new technology at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then,
What else we got?
of course, Les Winningham, his thank you to Scott County. They had voted and elected him to represent them in Nashville for the next 2 years. And so here's his article his ad in the paper. I went to school with a couple of his daughters.
Oh, okay.
He had 2 sets of twins.
Oh, twins seem to be very common up there for some reason. You got a lot of twins in Scott County.
We do.
Guess I'd
And
fit right in.
you fit right in. So these pictures are actually sideways. I'm actually going to find the full page.
Wow. Where's that one with Glenn Allen? Yeah.
Right there.
Principal Speaker Glenn Allen, who was a prisoner of war during World War II, serves as the principal speaker during Monday's Veterans Day observance in Oneida. It's kind of
Yeah, and I'm not sure why the pictures got turned, but essentially that tags off of the Veterans Day observance that was being held and the ceremonies that they had. And so some of the folks who were in the picture there were Post Commander Curtis Markham, Lecter Sexton from World War I, veteran Joe Hudson, Floyd Terry, Oneida Mayor Denzel Pennington, County Executive Dwight Murphy, Circuit Court Clerk Irene Chitwood sang, and Gina Phillips provided the piano accompaniment.
very cool. All right, what's next?
And of course, for some reason, this paper has a lot of car accidents, and this was one of the images. This was the one driven by Charles Goad, and this was an accident that occurred. It's one of the 2 vehicles that was damaged on our front page story about the folks who were injured on Jeffers Road.
All right.
I thought this was fun. The new theater site.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, Jan Jeffers, owners of a 2-acre tract that will be the site of the new 3-screen movie complex to be built directly behind Miss Winter's Restaurant on the 4-lane section of Highway 27 in North Oneida. Stands in front of a sign designated for the site. The facility will have a total capacity of 655 persons and being built by Tri-State Theaters. If y'all haven't figured out, there's a lot of Jeffers in this county. Just saying.
That's true. And then the football team was honored. So senior members of the Scott High football team and the cheerleading squad are shown there by a cake made by Rose Cron. She always made all the cakes in the community. Had quite a few birthday cakes by her.
Very cool.
And so if you guys that are watching see someone in here that is in the photo, feel free to tag them in the video.
All right, that guy in the middle, that's Senator-elect Albert Gore Jr. and Governor Lamar Alexander is to his right, or his left, met with reporters following a luncheon meeting at the executive residence last Wednesday on the day of Gore's landslide election to the U.S. Senate. All right, what's next? Oh, the menu.
Yeah, so every week they always posted the school menu in here. And so it looked like for the week of November 19th, which is interesting because Thanksgiving falls in the middle, so it's abbreviated week. So it looks like they had fish with a bun, mashed potatoes on Monday, sausage pizza and a tossed salad on Tuesday, turkey with dressing, mashed potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce, I guess they were having their Thanksgiving dinner on Wednesday, the 21st. And of course, no school on Thursday, the 22nd and Friday, the 23rd.
Listen, I think everybody in the country had the sausage pizza. Best pizza ever. I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but the sausage pizza that we had every Friday was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was always Friday for us.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like the square pizzas, y'all
No,
raise your hand.
they were rectangle pizzas.
Okay, rectangle pizza. Y'all raise your hand if you enjoyed the sausage pizza in elementary school.
I think we also had cheese, and then they had some with little pepperoni cubes.
Yeah, yeah.
But the sausage was the best.
Okay.
Phillips Apparel here, that was a big store there in Scott County in Oneida. That was the store there in the 80s if you wanted the top fashions. And I know the stonewashed jeans and all that you were pretty cool if you got your stonewashed jeans at Phillips Apparel. So, so there's two of their ads that was going on that time.
Okay, we'll just kind of zip through what's next
Yep.
here.
And then, of course, just some different events.
Banquets and events being held this week or that were held this week. All right.
Yep.
Oh, we got the little people.
Yeah, something that's always really popular are the little people. And so we had Wendell Dale Phillips celebrating his 10th birthday. Mr. and Miss Charles W. Cross of Oneida announced the arrival of their son, Charles Seth, on September 11th. And then, of course, we've got Mr. and Miss Robert Teresa Wright Jr. announcing the birth of Joshua Patrick. And then Mr. and Miss Roger Nancy Terry of Indianapolis announcing the birth of their baby. And Nicholas Wayne Botts was celebrating his 4th birthday. And, of course, Aubrey Phillips celebrating his 2nd birthday.
He doesn't look happy to be celebrating his 2nd.
No. And then, of course, Laura Ashley Wolford celebrated her 1st birthday on November 8th.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, of course, some people signing
we got
some proclamations.
Proclamation designating next week as Adoption Week in the town of Oneida in conjunction with the National Observance Proclamation by President Reagan.
That's really cool.
National Adoption Week. Okay.
I didn't realize that started then.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. There's more of the accidents we were talking about. That's another one. 1967 Ford pickup injured on Pleasant Grove Road. Looks like a car flipped.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, some folks that participated in some training courses for the rescue squad.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, very big shout out to the rescue squad. They're real big there in Scott County.
yeah. So, scoreboards were donated to Oneida basketball. Sports are a big thing up there, too.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Governor Alexander scheduled to speak. And then the wedding announcements, got some different folks here that was getting married. Collins and Harness wedding was planned, or date was set. And then a couple different other events. This is what I thought was cool.
There it is again.
Yeah. So to further explain the microwave demonstration. So Plateau Electric Cooperative will host a free microwave demonstration for its members on Tuesday, November 20th at 10 a.m. in the Plateau Electric Auditorium. The demonstration will feature candy, appetizers, decorations for the holiday. Several brands of microwave ovens will be used during the demonstrations.
All right. Well,
I just thought that was really wild because I guess that would have had to have been about the time that microwaves started.
Yeah. All right, more crash photos. Okay.
Yes.
Crash photos.
Yeah, more crash. And of course, the Scott County school menu. We do have, we have 2 schools. We've got Oneida and we've got the Scott County schools.
Okay.
And so this one actually has the breakfast and the lunch for all of those days. And of course, Thursday and Friday, they didn't have school. But interestingly enough, on Wednesday, they did their Thanksgiving lunch on Tuesday because on Wednesday they had hamburgers.
No, there you go. Can't break that. All right, next. Let's get it on here. Okay, more of that. Oh, Scott Foods. Sirloin tip roast, $2.59.
And as you can see down the side there, they've got their Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Their yams and cranberries and stuff.
Okay.
And I wanted to mention this. We don't mention a lot of the sports stuff on unless it's something that's really big. And so at this year in 1984, the Scott Highlanders football team, this is their congratulations for winning the 1984 District 4 AA championship and qualifying for the state playoffs for the first time. So they were playing Maryville for the Region 2 AA championship.
Good job, team. All right. Good news cycle.
Yeah. More positive news this week, other than the accident.
Yep.
I do see the comments over here. I know that Carl had asked when the Ghost Girls were on. He did ask the question, did that house have blow-in insulation? And if that's, he wants to know if that's what's leaking and causing all the orbs. And so I just wanted to mention that I saw the comment over here. Mason said that Wayne did check and that there was no insulation there. So
good questions, though.
Yeah, very good question. So just checking to see if there's anything else on here. And of course, Janet says, my mom always made me my lunch. My parents usually made mine too, most of the time there.
Yeah, we had our lunch card. So Pizza Friday, I got to tell you, people, Pizza Friday was awesome.
And then, of course, Carl says decades later, and we still can't get a microwave that can cook a Hot Pocket all the way through.
Or Jimmy Dean sausages in the morning.
I was just going to say that we have some of those over at the jail when we get started. And you either have, the pits of hell on the inside or on the outside, and then, frozen Antarctica on the inside.
So, all right. Well, good stuff. Listen, thank you everybody for watching tonight. We've had a lot of fun. Again, thank you, Ghost Girls and Wayne. And if you haven't checked out the Historic Scott County Jail page in a while, go ahead and do that, because we do have our long sleeve t-shirts with a very cool graphic on the back. So check those out. And if you haven't booked your investigation, please do so. We still have our paranormal research study that's going on right now. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and get your dates lined up.
Yeah, and like Christy said, get those dates for that. But then also we do have, if you don't have an investigation, we do mini investigations with the item, 1 hour, and they start in 1 hour sessions. So we only essentially got 2 months left on that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be part of this really cool research study, and we're going to be trying to put out more information about that over the next little bit. But if you want to be part of it, you definitely want to get in on this now and get your date booked, because it's unlike anything that we've seen anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
We are also working on some special events that are coming up at the jail. As Dr. Sumner said, during the month of March, we do have our flashlight tours and our Ladies Fright female investigations, but we're going to be having some cool things in April with spring starting and motorcycles starting to get out there and that sort of thing. So we're working on some cool things that we'll be announcing probably a little later this week, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you all. We really appreciate y'all hanging in with us tonight. Again, thank you to our guests. And, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and reach out to us. You can do that from our Facebook page, from our website, or by calling the number across your screen. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah. So again, like I said, just stay tuned and check out the shop page on there, because we have quite a few things on there that you might find interesting. So, all
right. Good night, everybody.
And as far as next week, we'll be announcing next week's guest here in a few days. So definitely come back and check us out on next Monday night at 8 p.m.
Yep. All right.
So,
now, good night, everybody.